over Menendez Monday night is hoping to carry that momentum over to their game tonight, taking place at First Coast. Both games kick off at 6:30. Hear the games live on 1010 AM and 92.5 FM. It's 73 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
We have made it to a football Friday, a Sunshine Turf Friday, a feel-good Friday. Yes, football around here has not been as good as we would like, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to still get excited tomorrow. Well, tonight, really. College football tonight. Tomorrow
Great
and
slate
Sunday.
this weekend. Come on now, Lauren. It's a third weekend in October, and
know,
October is where champions are made.
Here's a little problem for me. I have Halloween bunko tonight. Do you think they'll put the games on? Do you think I can get 2 football games on during Halloween bunko?
At the current state of Florida State football, my assessment is no, unless you're with some diehard Knowles fans.
And I will be with a diehard
then you got a
Knowles
good
fan.
chance.
Maybe they don't want to watch it, though.
And that's what I wonder, because I know other people have said I'm done on the season, so we shall find out. All right, so the Jaguars are favored by 6. The line has shifted more in favor of the Jaguars over the Patriots. I can't quite figure out why. We do see that Drake May is listed on the injury report with a knee injury.
But he practiced in full.
But he practiced in full both days. Obviously, that's just something that's precautionary. And then he told media that he was not going to share anything about the knee with media. I certainly understand that. It's gamesmanship. Here's the only thing I can come up with as to why the Jaguars are favored at all over the Patriots. Obviously, the Patriots are also garbage, but they did beat the Bengals to start the season. The Jaguars' only win is over the Colts, which isn't a great team. But favorites have excelled in international games. They are 35-11-1 against the spread. And at Wembley Stadium, favorites are 18-6-1 against the spread. So Vegas is really believing in the Jags.
Yeah, I think that I think the London thing does factor in. I think that I think the Drake May, even though they're not really saying much and he practiced, anytime your quarterback ends up on an injury report
And goes to get an MRI on his knee.
Yeah, and there's reports that he got an MRI and they're not really talking about much. You do start to wonder a little bit. Obviously, that's going to skew things. I do think that maybe Tyson Campbell coming back, and obviously he's been back at practice this week, and we are always expecting him to miss the Bears game and probably play against the Patriots. I think that factors in. I think week 2 of Evan Ingram being back factors in. He already had 100 yards last week. So I do think there are the momentum seems like it's pushing in Jags' favor when it comes to those type of things. But I do think it's just 2 not very good football teams at the moment playing each other. So you are just kind of like picking at straws I don't know if that's the phrase, but grasping at straws at this point.
The Patriots have arrived in England, and Drake May had his first meeting with the local media contingent in London.
Did they just get there this morning?
Yes, they did.
So maybe that's it.
Right, exactly. It's those teams that arrive late that, they don't have the advantage. He was asked why English fans should support the Patriots, and he goes, first off, I think it comes with the name, New England. Drake, I hear you're a pretty smart guy, but we may need to get you a history lesson, my brother in Christ.
Drake May, I think, has the right personality
Oh my God, yeah.
to
Definitely.
lead this team, a rebuilding Patriots team. And on the flip side, Trevor Lawrence and the mess that's crumbling around him right now, I think he has the personality. If one team can be picked up by their quarterback, it could be the Jaguars.
Right. I think another big one in this is the fact that Ramondre Stevenson did not practice both days so far too, because that is their run game.
Yep.
If they don't have him, and granted, Drake May does add a little bit to their run compared to what Jacoby Brissett did, but that is their entire run game is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, we talked to the play-by-play voice, me and Bob Sosi, earlier this week. I specifically asked him about Ramondre Stevenson because it does feel like the Patriots have a lot more momentum offensively when he's out there.
Yeah.
And I highly doubt he's going to play at this point.
Well, what's a rookie quarterback's best friend?
A running back.
Definitely.
A running game.
A strong tight end, I know, the safety valve, but more importantly, a strong run game. And the Patriots run the ball just about 38% of the time as is. And certainly Stevenson was benched once upon a time because Gerard Mayo wanted to hold people accountable. Well, now he's hurt, and now you find yourselves with a running back room that would see Antonio Gibson and, wait for it, old friend alert, Jermichael Hasty as your two tailbacks. Hey, listen, Daria Gumbawali had success earlier this year against this team, so I don't want to speak that into existence.
Right.
What I will speak into existence.
I don't think it'll be Hasty, though.
And kind of tying not only this Sunday's matchup in London, but also tying in last night's Thursday Night Football game, which I tweeted it out. God bless those of you who watched that whole game instead of the Major League Baseball playoffs because, look, you love football. We love football in this neck of the woods. A lot more fireworks happening in both the ALCS and even the NLCS Game 4 comparatively to the Saints and the Broncos last night.
It was 33-3 at one point in time. If you were watching that game over baseball, there's something wrong with you.
I personally was watching Scream 5. So.
Yes, there's also that. It is Halloween.
It?
I did.
My goodness.
I will get to baseball here momentarily, folks, but I bring up the Saints and pair them with the Patriots to say this. The Saints last night were obviously down their starting quarterback in Derek Carr, down their two starting wide receivers in Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed.
And Shaheed is done for the season as I feared, and that makes me so upset.
They were down to their third string center or right guard, Kyle Hergel, our undrafted free agent rookie out of BC.
That name sounds like a lineman.
Had to play center for them. Taysom Hill out of that game. Pete Werner, Kalen Saunders. The list goes on. That is as Marshawn Lattimore was questionable coming into the game. Certainly, they lost Paulson at Debo. Words are hard. Paulson Adebo, who unfortunately went right to the hospital, was air casted, a really nasty looking injury.
I feel like we've already seen more broken legs this season in the NFL than we have before. We've seen immediate surgeries for multiple players in the air cast.
The point is I just ran up and down a Saints roster that got absolutely roasted by Bosef Nix and Sean Payton in this iteration of the Denver Broncos. With all due respect, they are a 4-win club, but that's just the reality. It's the Bo Nix and Sean Payton on a last-place schedule.
Yeah.
They got roasted by them and boat raced. Then you look at the New England Patriots roster, and it reads much of the same because a defense that, despite only winning 4 games last year, was top 10 a season ago. They lost Matthew Judon to trade in the offseason, but then you couple that with a couple weeks before the season began, Christian Barmore with the blood clots, so he has been held out throughout the course of the season.
That's scary.
Jabril Peppers has been out. Kyle Duggar has been banged up. You go up and down that defense that at the very least was supposed to be the second best friend to a rookie quarterback in Drake May whenever he did step into the starting role. And that defense has been depleted just like the Saints. And so that is why I think maybe it's the recency bias of seeing what happened to a rookie quarterback with a depleted roster in Spencer Rattler last night and the odds makers saying, oh no, could Drake May suffer a similar fate at the hands of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Taylor, I can't believe with your background that we've made it to Friday and you have not said the name Demario Douglas, who went to Mandarin High School.
I know. And I actually did. He was one of the ones that when I was kind of going through my possible gym of the weeks, he was somebody that has come up a few times so far. But it is. I think that
I thought Cole Kmet, by the way, would be your gym of the week.
I didn't want to put any Bears player. I could have put Caleb or Cole, honestly, and I didn't because I just didn't want people here to yell at me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. But so I was like, let me just avoid that, and especially I knew my Bears side of Twitter would vote the heck out of that, so they would have won, and then I would have had to post that on all our social medias, and it would have just not been fun. But yeah, I think going back, Mia, real quick to some of the Saints thing. The interesting thing with the Saints is, and we could talk about all of kind of how depleted the entire team is right now. But after the Cowboys game, everything just kind of started going sour for the Saints in general. So, like, I mean, they lose to the Eagles 15-12. The Falcons beat them 26-24. The Chiefs beat them 26-13. The Bucs beat them 51-27. And when you go back and you look at Derek Carr and the offense's numbers after that Saints-Cowboys game, who, in my opinion, obviously Kamara was the one that actually carried everything. And I even made the comment of Kamara does this once a year. He has some game where he has like 4, 5, 6 touchdowns in one game, and then that's what he does. And that's what it is on the Saints offense. And if Kamara is not scoring multiple touchdowns, then the Saints just aren't really a good team right now.
And it's unfortunate because that was the one thing that Clint Kubiak coming in, you could see. And again, I understand they played the the Panthers and a Dallas Cowboys team who even 6 weeks into the season, we really don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And we certainly didn't know what they were in week 2. But what Clint Kubiak, the offense coordinator for the Saints, visibly, tangibly did was he created a more zone run scheme for this Saints offense to create a system where not only are your offensive linemen who are naturally athletic and not necessarily bruisers that you would want in a bar fight, getting them out in space, getting Alvin Kamara out in space, getting them downfield, creating extra time in the pocket for Derek Carr. And you saw early returns of it, but ultimately when you've lost that personnel, and now it's just Alvin Kamara. There were multiple times last night, because I did watch a little bit of the second half game. There were multiple times in which he's bouncing off defensive linemen because he's like, well, I got no holes that I can hit, so I'm just going to try to bounce my way through, and that's not the type of running back that he is.
I think it was already catching up is kind of my point. Like, Derek Carr did play all of those when it comes to the Eagles game, the Falcons game, the Chiefs game. And so he was still there. Olave was still there. Kamara was still there. They weren't missing all of those pieces yet, and things were already catching up. So when you have an offense that people are already starting to figure out, and then you start to get hurt, it makes it even worse. But tying that into the Jags, I think...
Maybe Derek Carr isn't that good.
Yeah. Tying that into the Jags, I think that when you are talking about having the talent, and we've had that conversation a lot, I feel like this last couple of weeks, that a lot of people feel like you have on paper a team that should be better than what they are putting out on the football field. And I think that you need to take advantage of that in moments, especially in games like this weekend, when it is the Patriots and it's a team that's already not good. And, oh, by the way, they're also getting hit with all of these injuries. So that's when you have to take advantage of these moments. And Jags haven't been able to do that this season. And we've kind of joked about it. Every team they've played has had a list of like 10 guys that have been injured, missing half of their defenses or missing big offensive pieces. And they haven't taken advantage of those moments.
Yeah, the fact that they've been in London now for a week and the Patriots just arrived today, that certainly in the past has been an advantage for the Jaguars. But I think seeing on social media today that they're in good spirits and they're having a good time over there, while that I understand why that makes some fans mad, at the same time, that's good news to me, because that means that they're not just depressed about how the season has been so far, because they still do have 11 games to play, and they realize, I'm sure, that this is one of the more, I know they're not going to look ahead, right? Yeah. It's go 1-0, but they understand that the Patriots are one of the worst teams in the NFL, that this is a chance for them to win, and the next few weeks after that are going to be much more difficult. They're aware of that, even if they won't ever admit that. But yeah, it seems like I said, this Jaguars being favored by 6 seems like everyone that's not super close to the team like us is like, oh yeah, of course the Jaguars are better than the Patriots. It's just like, we know, we just know everything that's gone on.
We've said that before.
Weeks. Oh, how times have changed from this Patriots-Jags matchup to the 2018 Patriots or 2017 or 18
that
Jags
was the
matchup.
Jags Super Bowl. That was the longest it's ever taken me to get home from a game, was after the Patriots, when the Jags beat the Patriots. It took me like almost 2 hours to get home from Everbank. All right, when we come back, Mia will have the latest when it comes to injuries. We also do want to talk some baseball. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Sunshine Turf Friday. You can find them online at sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243. Pass by Gonzalez Park all the time. Had some friends go there last weekend for their little girl to play, and they absolutely love the turf that they did. Caleb and his team can do that for you too. It's Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Stretch game day as far as you can with an extra quarter of Teal Talk. Join Hacker Leon and Coach Campo for the window world of Northeast Florida 5th quarter. 2 hours after the final whistle on game day. Brought to you by Von Rowan Lawn and Hurricane Grill and Wings.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
Getting you ready for the game. Pre-Game Friday. Brought to you by MyBookie and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Mia here for my friends at Projects Roofing, hoping everyone stayed safe during Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. If your roof did take on any damage at all, know that Projects Roofing is here to help. From the smallest of repairs to full roof replacements, my friend Mike has been serving all of Northeast Florida for 25 years. Again, we hope everyone remains safe during the storm, but if you do need any help with your roof, call Mike directly today at 904-338-1722. That's Projects Roofing at 904-338-1722 or online at projectsroofingfl.com.
It's a Helmets and Heels Sunshine Turf Friday.
If you're getting married or want to upgrade your bands, now is the time at Beard's Diamonds.
Because it's Beard's Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one on wedding band sale.
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
Brackish Vodka, the official vodka of UNF Athletics, 100% made in Jacksonville, is available at all local liquor stores. Visit Browdy's, Total Wine, ABC, Shores, Golden, Sahara's, Golden Ox, and more. Drink our gluten-free San Francisco Spirit award-winning vodka and see why it's the smoothest vodka you can buy. When you drink Brackish Vodka, you support all of our local employees and all the money stays in Jacksonville. Drink Brackish Vodka and live life slightly salty. Proud partner of the Jaguars.
Get the latest on the Gators from one of the greatest Gators.
Touchdown, Gators!
Chris Doring joins Dan and Jeff on the Drip Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Go Gators!
Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
57% of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida alumni say the club saved their lives. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida support over 5,000 local youths each day. Help support this work and have some fun at the same time. Join us at the Beaches Barbecue Bash, Monday, October 28th at ABBQ Atlantic Beach for barbecue, great beverages, live music, and an auction to positively impact our youth each day. Learn more at bgcnf.org/events.
Mia here. You know what I've learned? If your team is losing, you can make yourself a winner with MyBookie. Bet against your team if you have to, if it's going to score you a payout. This weekend, there's a ton of great games once again. Saturday night, Kentucky travels to the Swamp to face the Gators. And Sunday morning, oh boy, your favorite team is a 5.5-point favorite over the Patriots with a rookie quarterback. I think they can cover it. Do you? It doesn't stop there. Sunday afternoon, you have Lions, Vikings, Texans, Packers, and a Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the 49ers. Then the most bet-on game of the day is Sunday Night Football. The Jets Jets take on the Steelers in Pittsburgh with a 38.5-point total. Give me the under with the Steelers trying to slow the game down. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. It's the best deposit sign-up bonus in the industry. Sign up with promo code 1010XL and make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing Scalp Micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Hey,
Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Can you believe they've been cleaning carpets in Jacksonville now for 20 years? Dave Benyon, his family and staff are so grateful of things and appreciate you, their great customers. In fact, October's birthday month for Zero Res. So what are we doing for customers? Just say happy birthday, Zero Res, and we'll give you $50 off. That's $50 off carpet, towel, and grout, upholstery, or area rugs. Zero Res, man. Spell it forwards or backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Holmes, David Fry, third time at the plate. Carries the winning run in game 3. Fry, deep drive, left field. Fry's watching. It is a walk-off home run. David Fry lights up the Cleveland night.
The floor is yours, Mia O'Brien.
Honestly, Lauren, I tweeted it. I feel bad for everyone who watched Thursday Night Football, and I say that as a Yankee fan and not that ALCS Game 3. Yes, I understand it's baseball, and for some of you, baseball is boring. And I would argue the middle part of the four to five innings after an initial bit of an offensive outburst when it was 3-1. Yes, heading into the top of the 8th inning in Cleveland last night, yes, you can say, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. This is boring.
But the atmosphere in postseason baseball, that to me, no matter whether there's no offense or not, the atmosphere, everyone's standing on their feet the entire time, it's insane.
And I thought TBS TNT did a phenomenal job of capturing the emotion of the Cleveland sports fan, who, by the way, had a rerouted stadium announced 4 hours earlier by, I guess one of the local news affiliates broke in, and the Cleveland Browns, right before first pitch for the Guardians, announced their new stadium plans, which are literally zigging from the plan that they were zagging on. So I'm sure for Cleveland sports fans, between that and the nasty man, Deshaun Watson, it's been quite a tumultuous last few months and weeks. And so to see Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton go back-to-back in the blink of an eye, the Yankees take a 4-3 lead, and just the sheer emotion,
and they would have been up 3-0 in the ALCS.
Right, and the Yankees would have gone up 3-0, and the series is probably over. Yeah. And to the point that I had multiple people texting me saying, including our very own Greg in the sales department, he and I were texting each other as Yankees fans, and we're like, wow, this Yankees team is different. The Yankees of 2010 to 2023, down 3-1, they don't rally like this. They don't play for each other like we're seeing this group play for each other. They don't step up in clutch moments. Aaron Judge finally had his signature postseason moment in pinstripes. And then the unthinkable happened. In my household, Lane Train, as we call him, Lane Thomas, who had the 2-out double that extended the inning and allowed for Noel to step to the plate, Mr. Christmas himself. Christmas comes early in Cleveland as he delivers that game-tying 2-run blast with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning.
John Kenzie Noel.
Yes, who, by the way, has pinch hit 17 times now this year, and 2 of them have been home runs. Those are the only 2 hits he has had when he's been a pinch hitter.
Well, and going back real quick, so the Guardians put in their best reliever, and so you think, okay.
Their closer, the best closer in baseball.
Right, and Clase, and you think okay, the Guardians are going to be able to keep them scoreless. That's when the 2 home runs happen. Yeah. And so you're like, if you're obviously a Guardians fan, you feel like it's over. It's literally, you feel like the moment has passed and you're done.
That was definitely deja vu for them, because that's what happened to them against the Cubs, was they put in their best closer that was shutting down everyone all year, and Cubs ended up lighting them up in that moment.
Right. And I, as a Yankees fan, my only, because I'm not even going to fault the Yankees for that. Their momentum is real. Yeah. And credit to Lane Thomas, credit to Cleveland for going down swinging. And look, it was a fabulous baseball game. It was. It's so good. It's why you love October. And so
not as good as Scream 5.
Right. So therefore, I can't even be mad as a sheer fan of sport. I loved it. It was incredible theater, and I can't even be mad at the Yankees. Now, what happens if this shifts the entire series? Yeah, then we'll have that conversation when we want to have it. I would hope that the team that I saw in the 8th inning of that game is truly different than the one I've seen the last 13 years. Mm-hmm. And so in turn, because of that, they will go down swinging and they will find a way back to win the series. But I was A-okay with what occurred last night. My only qualm, some questionable balls and strikes on that lower part of the strike zone that, sometimes they were balls, sometimes they were called strikes.
Yeah, I feel like the outside is where fans can get a little bit angrier, but the low, every ump has a different area, even though it's supposed to be the same and we see the box, but when it hits the lowest part of the box, that's where I feel like it's hardest for the ump to be able to identify.
And I understand everyone's knees are at different points because head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Not everybody's the same height. I respect that. Aaron Judge's strike zone is significantly different than just throwing out because it's the obvious, Jose Altuve of the Houston Astros. So I'm not saying that. That was the only thing that I took fault with from that game. I thought it was, as a baseball fan who, despite being a diehard Yankees fan, and the reason I got into sports broadcasting was because of the Yankees, I cried the first time I went to Fenway Park as a fan of sport and as a fan of baseball. That's what that game last night felt like to me. And so, look, I hope as a Yankees fan, this isn't what shifts the tide in favor of the Guardians. And I hope that this team is mentally tough enough that it won't. But ultimately, it was just a fabulous baseball game. And unfortunately, Dan Hickens' Mets could not.
I think the Dodgers are advancing.
When Vientos had the solo home run,
Grimace magic might have run out.
The power of friendship.
But that's what happens sometimes for your team, and it's what happened. I think to me, 2017 Jags. No one saw that team coming, and the way that it sucked. Losing to the Patriots the way that you did. You allowed the 3rd and 18. Everyone talks about Miles Jack wasn't down, but it was the 3rd and 18 that you allowed Brady to complete, and so. They didn't expect to really be in the Super Bowl ahead of that season. That's where I think the Mets were for this season. They didn't expect to be in the
No. And that's why I mentioned it last week where I was talking to Dan in those kind of few days when they were fighting to even, was it going to be Braves and Mets or were one of them going to get knocked out? That series mattered so much for them. And when they got in and I was like, what are your expectations? He's like, honestly, I'm just happy we got in. I wrote this team off in June, end of May, beginning of June. And now we are making it into the postseason. So I'm taking that as a positive. Obviously, your feelings start changing when you are winning games the way that you're winning in the beginning of the postseason. And you're kind of get this little in the back of your head. You're like, oh, well, maybe this magic is enough. Maybe the way they've played in the second half of the season is enough to carry them in. The Guardians fans had felt the same way, I think, coming into this postseason. A lot of my Guardian fan friends were like, this year feels different. And it was kind of one of those moments. And so we'll see how that series goes. Obviously, a 2-1 series with them compared to a 3-1 series with Dodgers Mets. But I do think for a large part, unless you are a Dodgers and Yankees fan, most people are like, I get it. It's the big names. And you're like, a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. I was like, ugh, God. Really?
That's what we were talking about it too last night because it's hard for us being along the Atlantic seaboard to say, and look, I understand there's New York haters out there. That's why some of you have certain things to say about myself and Dan Hicken, and that's fine and good. But
I don't think people hate the Mets as much as they hate the Yankees.
Right. And again, the Mets are this lovable team. And so that's what I'm so fascinated. Because Kevin said it to me last night. He's like, I'm not sure Mets Yankees would play as well in, say, San Jose or Arizona as Dodgers Yankees would play. I don't know if that's true because ultimately, if you're a baseball fan, those are two historic franchises, whether you like it or not. And ultimately, one is David and one is Goliath. Mm-hmm. And you either have one evil empire versus the other evil empire. Again, this is assuming the Guardians don't turn things around, which they very well could. So you either have one evil empire versus the other evil empire, or you have David versus Goliath. And ultimately, I think fans of sport are going to prefer David versus Goliath.
Well, who is Goliath in your scenario?
The Mets?
No,
the Yankees.
The Yankees.
She's saying if it's Yankees-Dodgers, it's like the villains versus the villains. If it's Yankees-Mets, then it's the David versus Goliath.
And so that's what I was trying to figure out. So the reason I wanted to ask the question is the Mets have the highest payroll in all of baseball.
Yes.
So that's why I don't consider them as being
Mets,
David.
Dodgers, Yankees are 3 of the top 5 highest payrolls in
They
baseball.
also literally are using...
That's why I think it's Goliath versus Goliath when it comes to the money.
The Mets are also literally using a McDonald's character and a second baseman's new pop hit single on the Latin charts.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Guardians are 23rd when it comes to payroll. So they're the true David
right,
of
they're
the
truly
scenario.
David, correct. Of the 4, they are truly David. But I would argue, again, to Taylor's point of expectations, to your point of bringing up the 2017 Jags, Lauren, no one expects the Mets to be here. Everyone expects the Yankees to be here. That's the difference.
Yeah, I see what you're saying as far as now where their seasons are. Look, it's been fun. And I mean, for me, I'm certainly football first ahead of certainly baseball, but I love postseason baseball every year. I can remember in 2004 when the Red Sox came back and won. Like even if I don't watch a ton during the regular season outside of the Rays, when it comes to postseason baseball, you literally cannot pull me away.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to cue up the world's smallest violin, but RJ, if you want to, we can. Brian Anderson and Joe Davis have done a fantastic job, and sorry, Bob Costas. I do believe the time has passed. Maybe time to find a nice spot on the beach, or I don't know, like develop a hobby somewhere else. Because I
RJ,
thought,
weren't you trying to get Bob Costas on our show? Now he's never going to come on.
Look, he's a legend, and I'm not dismissing it, but Brian Anderson and Joe Davis represent the future of baseball broadcasting, just like Jeff Passan, who's, of course, on our TV screen on the Pat McAfee show right now. If we are to progress to where baseball is a younger man's sport, we need to see those younger media members, just like younger players who are marketable, emerging. And I loved the call from both of them over the last few weeks.
There couldn't be a bigger juxtaposition than McAfee in his tank top with his hat on backwards. And the hats barely fit his head because his hair is so high. Yeah, and his head's so big. And then Jeff Passan always in the professional suit. There couldn't be
That's Jeff the Jet Passan to you, Lauren. And remember when he almost got the insider NBA job too?
I was just thinking about that. I remember seeing the rumors that Jeff Passan may take the Woj job.
All right, we will still get to the injuries, and our picks are next. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Lauren Brooks here. Now at Hodges Mazda, get 2.9% APR for 72 months on the 2024 Mazda CX-90, Mazda's largest and most luxurious SUV. Or drive home a 2023 Mazda CX-30 2.5S preferred for as low as $26,999. This compact SUV is designed for both city driving and weekend getaways. Discover the Hodges Mazda difference with the non-commissioned sales team who are always focused on putting your best interests first. Plus, enjoy 2 years of free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at hodgesmazda.com. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants. Expires October 31st, 2024.
The Florida Forum welcomes former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, October 29th. Funds raised for a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,500 infants and children a year to Wolfson Children's Hospital. To get your tickets, click thefloridaforum.com or call 202-2886. 202-2886.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question, folks. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Hold up, let me say that again. 2.99% year one rate. Wow, that is basically unheard of up and down the eastern seaboard, folks. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hacker here, and I can't believe it. 100 pounds gone. 6 months ago, I never would have dreamed this was possible. I'm going to say it again because it feels so good. I've dropped 100 pounds thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. To put that in perspective, I've taken roughly 10 inches off my waist. I'm down from a XXX to an XL, and I did it all in slightly over 6 months. It's not just about the number on the scale. It's also about getting my life back, playing with my son, and being more more physically active. Now, we're celebrating big time. I'm hosting an exclusive football watch party to celebrate this huge milestone, and you'll have a chance to join me. Let's watch some football, eat some great food, and if you have questions about Awaken 180, ask me. Details to come, but don't wait on that. Call Awaken 180 today and learn how fast you can reach your goals. 844-346-1800 or online, awaken180weightloss.com.
Helmets and heels.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler.
I'm living proof that with Rebound Rehab, you can bounce back and get back in the game. Joe C. for Rebound Rehabilitation, and they helped me recover from an ankle injury that had me down and out. Their team of physical therapists ensure you'll get the best treatment you need to recover and regain mobility. From back, shoulder, and neck pain to a nagging knee or arthritis, Rebound Rehab can help form a game plan through therapy and exercise, complete with an app so you can continue to recover at home. Check out reboundrehab.com. 8 convenient locations.
Are you an experienced plumber or welder with MedGas certification and you're tired of being undervalued? It's time to make the move to Local 234 Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and HVAC Technicians. With the best pay in the business, you'll earn $36.50 an hour with benefits that's almost $50. It's not just a job, it's a career that values you. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On October 18, 2009, NFL quarterback Tom Brady threw 5 second-quarter down touchdowns against the Tennessee Titans, setting an NFL record for touchdown passes in one quarter.
Hey, Higgin here for America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with more than 5 million active members. It's Prize Picks. Listen, all you got to do is pick more or less on 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 player stat projections, and then watch the winnings roll in. Heck, you can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Here's what you do. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And Prize Picks always offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. Hey, you think Justin Jefferson's going to have more than 83.5 receiving yards, or Patrick Mahomes will throw for less than 267.5 passing yards? Cook up hot takes with Prize Picks. Run your game.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Earlier today in London, Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson said that barring any setbacks, cornerback Tyson Campbell should be cleared and good for the game on Sunday against the Patriots. The Jaguars' #1 cornerback has missed the past 5 games with a hamstring injury. Jaguars defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen on what it means to get back Tyson Campbell.
He's huge, great player, phenomenal talent, great teammate. We're excited about getting him back into the fold. You'll see some different combinations now that we have him back, and kind of how we started the year, so we're very excited.
Ryan Nielsen on Tyson Campbell. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. By the way, New Morgan Wallen song came out
I did.
today.
I saw it this morning getting
Let's
ready,
go.
actually.
It's so good.
And a new, what's his name? Dylan, that sings the Cole song that I like.
Yes, Dylan Gossett.
Yes, he has a new one that came out this morning, too.
Yes, don't turn us off on a Sunshine Turf Friday. But later, when there's no live 10 to XL programming, you can go listen to those songs. There's also a Riley Green and Luke Bryan song out as well. All right, we've got to get to these injuries, so take it away, Mia.
The personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We will begin on the Jaguars side of things. An identical injury report Thursday as it was Wednesday. 5 players. Yes, my math is good. 5 players limited, 1 player a full participant, that player being Anton Harrison, who Doug Peterson told reporters earlier in the week would be considered day-to-day. He was a full participant on both Wednesday and Thursday across the pond in London, England. Meanwhile, Eric Armstead with the shoulder, Gabe Davis still with that knee, Evan Ingram still with the hamstring, Travis Etienne officially now listed with a hamstring, not a shoulder injury that Doug Peterson said is expected to be week to week, and Tyson Campbell still working his way back from the hamstring injury as his window has been opened for his return from IR. All 5 of those players listed as limited once again on Thursday. Meanwhile, we mentioned it to you earlier in the program. The New England Patriots, one of the most banged up teams in the National Football League. Let's start with the very latest from boots on the ground in London. Gerard Mayo spoke at 9 a.m. Eastern time. I believe I'm doing the math there correctly. 9 a.m. Eastern time, so that would have been about 2 o'clock across the pond in London. And he called Ramondre Stevenson a game-time decision. The running back then took to the podium a little bit later in the afternoon, and he said that he believes he will be ready for Sunday's game. That is obviously a situation we will monitor, and once we get today's injury report, we will certainly bring you the very latest right here on the Superstation.
Usually injured players don't meet with media, so that's interesting that he did meet with media.
Yes, absolutely. Drake May was a full participant each of the last 2 days up in New England before the team departed across the pond for London. Meanwhile, some other injury notes. A lot of these names, folks, this ain't your grandmother's New England Patriots.
No,
it's like as I'm going through some of these names, I'm like, who? Kyle Duggar, you do know that name. Pretty highly touted draft pick once upon a time of the New England Patriots. He's been limited this week with an ankle injury, but he has practiced. Ditto to Jonathan Jones, one of their standout corners. Ditto to Marte Mapu, one of their safeties, who has a neck injury. He was a full participant on Thursday. Their other linebacker, Sion Taki, he's been limited. Marco Wilson, we know that name, limited with a groin injury, the former Florida Gator.
Keep your cleats on.
The biggest DMPs right now, Ramondre Stevenson, who I mentioned, as well as tackle Verdarian Lowe, who has an ankle injury. Marcus Jones did not practice Wednesday with a groin injury as well as illness. He was limited on Thursday. Yeah, just a banged up outfit from top to bottom, but certainly the most noteworthy of those injuries being the quarterback and the running back, and probably Kyle Duggar. And we will keep you posted on the very latest from each of those injuries once Friday's injury report does get released.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's been around 4:30, at least it was yesterday, Eastern. So certainly, like you said, we will be keeping an eye out for that. All right, let's make our picks. And so we certainly will pick this Patriots-Jaguars game. I have no idea which way y'all are going. I don't know how I'm going to go either.
There's several of these games that I'm honestly torn on.
We've
and
made
I
it
sucked
to
last week.
I will give an update I forgot to last week as far as total points right now. Mia and Taylor lead the way, tied at 21.
The comeback, it's on.
And I have
I think I got all wrong last week.
You did not get all wrong. You got one right.
Oh.
I have 19 points, so I'm 2 points behind. Last week, I went 4-2 because I picked the Jaguars to cover the spread, or the Bears.
Oh, Lauren.
And obviously the Bears did. Yeah, and then I also picked the Commanders. That Ravens-Commanders game, the spread was 6.5. The Ravens won by a touchdown. So had it just been a little bit.
I think the Penn State one, because it was 3.5 and it was 3, so it was
correct.
like a half from that. And then I didn't pick for the Jags-Bears game.
Nope.
And I was like,
you would have picked the Bears, I think.
Probably would have, but I just,
And then you did get the Ravens, though.
Okay.
So Mia and I both had 4 points. You had 1 point. We will get it to this week. We are going to kick things off with the game that starts it all tomorrow at noon. Miami travels to Louisville. Miami right now is a 5-point favorite. Taylor, I'll start with you.
I'm going to say Louisville. I think Miami wins, but I think it's like a field goal late. I just think both of these secondaries have struggled a decent amount to start the season, and that's probably their weaknesses on each side. So I am expecting a more through the air type game and a back and forth. But I do think Miami and what we've seen out of Cam Ward just being so just calm and cool and collected all the time, even when he does make mistakes and even when they're down multiple touchdowns, he's kind of able to rally them back and stay cool and bring them back late. So I think it will be that type of game.
Cam Ward said earlier this week, and we heard it from Adam Lickenstein of the Sun Sentinel, he told reporters earlier this week that he's been mid so far this year. He has the third best odds to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
I don't think that is just coach speak. I don't believe that that's just a player trying to downplay and be humble. I truly believe that Cam Ward
he thinks he can be a lot better.
Yeah,
he's turned over the ball quite a bit in the last couple of games.
And he throws the ball over the middle across his body way too much.
Yeah.
With that said, I believe Miami still has not cracked the ceiling yet. I also think that Tyler Shaw, while it's been an admirable beginning of the season at the helm of the Louisville offense under Jeff Brom, if this is a battle of quarterbacks, I'm taking Cam Ward every day and twice on Saturdays. Additionally, I do think that Mario Cristobal's defense feels like they have something to prove. And finally, let's be real, it's not going to be a team that has an argument to potentially be a top 25 outfit in Louisville that's going to be Miami's slip-up game. It's going to be Georgia Tech in 3 weeks. So give me Miami -5.
You're calling your shot already?
Oh, yeah.
Georgia Tech's going to upset Miami.
No, not upset, but that's going to be the field goal late game, in my opinion. That's going to be the tricky one. This game, they are going to be ready.
This is just like the best team they've played too.
Correct.
So,
and so
it is
they're
their
going
bigger test.
They're going to get up for it. They're coming off of a bye, and I do think that defense has something to prove. And this is
I just don't think they can get down 2 scores against this team and expect to come back.
Yeah, the issue that I have with this is the fact that I don't think Miami's run defense is great, and Louisville certainly can run the ball. However, I am going to go with the same sentiment as Mia as far as the quarterback is concerned. I think Cam Ward has been hard on himself. They just had the bye week, certainly, and this is a team that knows they've had 2 close contests that they potentially could have lost. So I got Miami and covering the 5. All right, let's get it to Knoxville as Tennessee plays host to Alabama. Alabama, a 3-point favorite on the road. I don't know what to make of either of these teams right now, as Tennessee should have lost to Florida and Alabama should have lost or at least tied against South Carolina.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little concerned about Alabama.
I'm concerned about both of them.
I know, but
As well you should
I've
be.
always been a little concerned about Tennessee. Like, I wasn't totally sold into everything Tennessee this year, but Bama, especially the way the Georgia game, after that, I was like, okay, Kalen DeBoer, we're good. Jalen Milroe just keeps getting better. And then you kind of take a step back and you're like, never mind. Both of these teams are coming off of 2 back-to-back weeks that were not impressive whatsoever. And so it is a little back and forth, but I just think at the end of the day, Tennessee losing to Arkansas and then barely being able to beat Florida and should have honestly lost to Florida, I have to say Bama. I think every time you start to count Alabama out, they show you why they are still around every single year.
Mia?
I'm also going to take Alabama. And that is solely because if I'm going to pick our first game based off quarterback play,
Right.
I need to be consistent. And Jalen Milroe, at the end of the day, love him or hate him, he did not give up 40 points to Vanderbilt. He is still the 5th best odds at mybookie.ag to win the Heisman Trophy. And so with that said, give me the Tide.
I think this is a game that if Kalen DeBoer loses, the fan base, everyone to label Florida's fan base is toxic. You talk about him losing to Tennessee, and that fan base is going to be called toxic. I've got Alabama as well. I'll kick things off for Georgia, Texas. I think Texas wins the game, but I think Georgia does cover. The line is now the Longhorns by 5. Uga will not be traveling to said game this time around. He's only 2 years old and 2 months old, and his handler said he's never been on a plane or been on a bus. So he will not be making the trip from Savannah over to Austin. But yeah, I think the Dogs cover. Kirby Smart has a tremendous 14-0 record in October. Again, not saying Georgia's going to win, but I think they cover.
I love Georgia +5 in this game. Not only is this great rat poison for Kirby Smart to take a moniker from his mentor in Nick Saban, but I also think this is a golden opportunity after a sleepy 10-point victory over Mississippi State for Georgia to remind everybody that, hey, the team you saw in the second half against Alabama, that is actually who we are. Sometimes we start off a little slow, and I think that still could be a problem in Austin this weekend. I also think Quinn Ewers hasn't moved quite as smoothly, let's just say, since his injury that forced Arch Manning to see playing time during the early portion of the season. And so give me the Dogs. I also think Texas is due for a bit of a wake-up call.
I'm going Texas. I'm obsessed with Texas. I think that...
God bless Texas.
Yes, God bless Texas. I know this is their first real matchup this year against a full kind of complete offense, so it will be interesting to see how they go up against that. But whoever is in at quarterback has just been able to just keep going. I love Isaiah Bond. I love Jaden Blue. I love Quinn Ewers. I love Manning. Everything about their offense.
I love Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, I love Matthew McConaughey. I've mentioned some of the stats the other day when it comes to how good they are on third down conversions. I think that can wear down Georgia's defense a little bit later in the game. I feel like it was opposite with Alabama. It kind of flipped in the second half of that game. Ewers has completed 72% of his passes this season. The Georgia run game isn't what a lot of people expected it to be so far this season. And maybe it's because for some reason I have so many Texas people on my Twitter. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because of Roschon Johnson. But I'm going Texas. Give me
not
the
because
Longhorns.
of Colin Johnson?
Horns up. And Colin Johnson.
Once upon a time a Jaguar.
Hey, he's a Chicago Bear right now,
Yes.
so it could be.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this atmosphere is going to be insane, and Georgia knows what to do on the road. That's the thing. Like, yes, it's going to be fun, or it's going to be a high-flying offense, certainly. But Carson Beck and Trevor Etienne, I feel like, and I hate saying that, by the way, every time.
I know.
It pains me. But the offensive line, I feel like they've been able to work on that. But we'll see. If Texas somehow, some way beats Georgia by more than 5, which then, obviously, you're right, Taylor, take note, college football. They already destroyed Oklahoma, so take note. All right, let's switch it to the NFL. We've got the Lions at the Vikings on Sunday. The Vikings 1.5-point favorites. Mia, you go first.
I came into this segment prepared to take the Lions plus 1.5. I was prepared to say that Dan Campbell crying in the locker room post game. We did this for Hutch. I can envision it. I can see it. Obviously, they're one of the best offenses in the National Football League. But then I started thinking about the Vikings. The Vikings are also a top 10 offense. And more importantly, they are a top 10 defense. I believe this is going to be one of the better defenses led by Brian Flores, of course, the defense coordinator, but also Jonathan Grenard, who one way or another, look, I love Danielle Hunter. I was hoping Danielle Hunter would make his way to Jacksonville if he did leave Minneapolis. Instead, he ends up coming to the AFC South, but to Houston. I did not think that was going to be an equal trade-off. And it has been. Grenard is top 10 in the league in pressures so far, and he is just one piece in an absolute machine that Brian Flores has built. So give me the Vikings -5.
All I have to say to that Grenard breakdown is go Gators. I've got...
Or -1.5, sorry.
Yeah, I've got the Vikings because they're at home, and I do think the loss of Aiden Hutchinson's going to hurt the Lions.
Yeah, I've got the Lions. I think the Vikings cannot run the ball and haven't been able to find a way to run the ball. The Lions and Vikings defensively are similar in almost every aspect. When you look at any number when it comes to quarterback completion percentage, when it comes to stopping the run, when it comes to pressures, and I know they've lost Aiden Hutchinson, I just think they've also been able to create some depth there to be able to not make up fully for Aiden, but still be able to add some pressures to the Vikings. But I just think at the end of the day, they're too one-dimensional to not be able to match up against the Lions defense. So I'm going Detroit.
Okay, so far, me and I are together on all 4 of these, and you've been opposite on most other than Alabama. So we'll see how this week goes. I'll kick things off with Chiefs at the 49ers. The home team is a 1.5-point favorite. Patrick Mahomes is really good when the Chiefs are underdogs, so I've got the Chiefs.
I do as well.
5 for 5.
Yeah,
I'm
5
going
for
a
5.
different again.
Yeah, sorry.
Good.
I'm not.
But this
like
one,
different.
I told Mia, I was like, I don't know. Like, I really tried to come up with an argument for either side. I haven't been totally impressed by the Chiefs. I think it's easy to just say, okay, but they have Patrick Mahomes. I just think that it's just, I don't know. This one, I truly was like, no clue, so I'm just going to pick the home team.
Well, for me, it just stems from you have no Christian McCaffrey. Jordan Mason is banged up. His status potentially in doubt. Deebo Samuel banged up. Juwan Jennings banged up. And I understand the Chiefs don't necessarily have a treasure trove at wide receiver anymore. But ultimately, we've seen what happens when Brock Purdy doesn't have a run game. We saw what happened when they were without Christian McCaffrey during that 3-game losing streak last year. And so that is a big reason they're 3-3 in my estimation. This is a team that can't really play from behind. And so that's why I got to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep putting running backs out there, though. Jordan Mason had 73 yards last week, and Isaac Guerrero, whoever that is, had 99 yards.
Louisville.
So it's like one of those things where they keep figuring they can run the ball. They don't have a problem running the ball. That's what kind of kept me in this, is they just keep getting guys, and guys keep getting 100 yards rushing.
And finally, the Jaguars-Patriots tilt over in London. The only time I've been correct picking this team from here was week 1 against the Dolphins. Every other week, and I've picked against the Jaguars at times, not to cover the spread, and I've still been wrong. And then, of course, we had the push with the Colts and the Jaguars. So it doesn't really matter what I do. I'm going to get it wrong, so I may as well go with the Jaguars.
All right, well, if Lauren's going to go with the Jaguars, then I guess I have to go against them, even though I was going to take them.
Perfect.
Yeah. At this point in time, I don't know we talked about it at length yesterday on yesterday's program. I don't know if wins or losses are a good thing right now if the overall ecosystem is suffering.
Yeah, I do think the Jags win. I just think it's by less than 6.
Yeah,
I
and
think
I can
it's a
understand
field
that.
goal at the end, and a Walker Little 56-yard field goal.
You mean Cam Little.
Can't dang it. I always do that. One day Walker Little will make a field goal, and I'll be excited. But Cam Little, I think it will be like a long field goal at the end. I just don't think this offense has done enough. The defense can't stop anything, it feels like, right now in this moment. So I'm going to say Patriots, but I do think the Jags pull out a win.
If it's close, I'll go on the record as saying I think the Jaguars lose. I think the only way the Jags win is if they are up by probably 10 points, something like that. I think they're not built right now mentally to win a close game. So that I'm going to go with the line and the Jags.
Well, they beat the Colts closely.
They certainly did.
Blown out by the Bears, blown out by the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
history tells us they're not going to blow out the Patriots. But I do think this Patriots team is like me,
I want to take the Jags because I really don't think the Patriots are that good.
Me either.
But
I know.
yeah, I'm going against you, Lauren, solely so we're not 6 for 6.
I like it. It's a Sunshine Turf Friday. You can find their latest project on 1010XL's Instagram. Find them online at sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243. See how they can transform your backyard. It is a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL. He's a master at recon. Ace Carline takes you behind enemy lines on 1010XL.
What's your position?
That's top secret.
Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or repair it. From septic tank pump outs, drain field installations, clog drains, water heaters to repipes, they do it all. And they do it well. But don't just take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google and see what customers just like you are saying about their experience with Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit duckduckrooter.com to schedule service today.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
If you know about artificial turf, you know it needs to be done right. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned company that will transform your outdoor space into the oasis of your dreams. A putting green, a pet run, a maintenance-free yard. Trust me, the team at Sunshine Turf are the experts you need to transform your lawn. With the highest quality products and budget-friendly pricing, get clean, low-maintenance synthetic grass by visiting sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 to get a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff Road has some of the highest Google reviews in Jax for a reason. Expert Auto never sells greed, only what you need. All makes and models are serviced at Expert Automotive. This month, get an alignment inspection for only $19.99. Expert Auto does major engine and transmission repair and simple maintenance. All services done at Expert Auto by our ASC certified training technicians. Call today, 374-3373, and ask about $50 off any service. Expert Automotive. We never sell greed, only what you need.
Sunshine Turf Friday.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists returns with their free bumps and bruises evaluation clinics. Now with 4 locations, these free injury assessments are open to all schools and athletic programs. Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 through October 26th at Cortex Sports Performance in Ponte Vedra, Preferred PT in Fleming Island, and also at Brooks Rehab on Centurion Parkway and Brooks Rehab at World Golf Village.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Homeowners, listen up. The Fed is taking action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit, lowering mortgage rates big time. Prosser here. That means this is the best chance in 2 years to do a cash-out refi and unlock all that equity at an amazing rate. Loan Pronto has fixed loans under 5% APR, the lowest in 2 years. You can get a fast refi and get $50,000 to $75,000, even $100,000 in cash. Use it to pay off all your credit cards, personal loans, car loans. You'll end up with one payment each month. And for most homeowners, they save over $850 every month. If you want to keep your original mortgage intact, ask about the Loan Pronto Express Equity Line of Credit. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
At Farah and Farah, we believe clients have a right to know what's going on with their case every step of the way. Call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family. Jacksonville.
Mia here. You know what I've learned? If your team is losing, you can make yourself a winner with MyBookie. Bet against your team if you have to, if it's going to score you a payout. This weekend, there's a ton of great games once again. Saturday night, Kentucky travels to the Swamp to face the Gators. And Sunday morning, oh boy, your favorite team is a 5.5-point favorite over the Patriots with a rookie quarterback. I think they can cover it. Do you? It doesn't stop there. Sunday afternoon, you have Lions-Vikings, Texans-Packers, and a Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the 49ers. Then the most bet-on game of the day is Sunday Night Football. The Jets Jets take on the Steelers in Pittsburgh with a 38.5-point total. Give me the under with the Steelers trying to slow the game down. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. It's the best deposit sign-up bonus in the industry. Sign up with promo code 1010XL and make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you, on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Riddle Wellness. The Florida Gators hope to flip the script tomorrow night in the Swamp when they take on the Kentucky Wildcats. The Wildcats have won 4 of their last 6 meetings, and the Florida Gators are ready to snap the curse. Gators head coach Billy Napier spoke on squaring up against Kentucky's defense.
Consistently one of the better defensive units in our league, and it's a very unique concept relative to other weeks, right? I mean, ultimately they're creating a 4-man rush and they're playing 3 deep, 4 underneath in about, dozens of different ways. A lot of zone. Obviously, there's some situational man coverage. And then here comes the 5-man pressures. Here comes the 6-man pressures. Overall, height, length, and speed on the field, they give everybody fits. This is a tough group for sure.
Gators and Wildcats in the Swamp tomorrow night. Kickoff at 7:45. Listen to the game live on 1010XL. It's 75 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on the Sunshine Turf Friday. We just did our picks, and I cannot believe that neither Florida nor Florida State made the picks, that's where we are.
Especially
FSU Duke tonight. It should be in the pick.
Especially because I did see a graphic from our friends down at ESPN Gainesville that according to ESPN's FPI index, the Gators now have a 59.5% chance of winning in the Swamp tomorrow night.
Yeah, so odds makers would tell you that I think Kentucky's favored right now, but that Florida at home is this super difficult team to beat, right? The problem is...
Wait. Repeat what you just said, Lauren.
Yeah, odds makers would tell you that Florida's difficult to beat at home. The problem is Florida faced Miami at home this year and Texas A&M at home and lost both of those games. The Swamp may not have the magic that it once had. I do think the fans are still giving their all. It's just the team and more so the coaching staff doesn't always give it their all, or at least maybe they try. They're just not that good at it. And that's a story for another day. We'll talk about who should be Florida's next coach, I'm sure, ad nauseum down the road, especially if Florida loses tomorrow night. Some people think that Napier could be fired as early as Sunday. I don't know, because you still have some super tough games to play. So if you're Scott Strickland and if you think Billy Napier is giving you the best chance, the team at least is playing super hard. Again, should have beat Tennessee.
Right. And there's also, like I said, there's also, I think, a bit of a rumbling of he could coach out the string. And if...
I mean, he's getting paid too.
Right. And if he coaches out the string and they continue to play hard, even in a situation where so many have written them off,
right,
does he make the case that he should be retained?
No, that I don't think there's a chance in heck that Billy Napier's the coach next year.
It's just when does it happen?
Correct. Yes. Because you have literally seen a coach lose football games based off of his decision making. I think he does a fairly good job at recruiting and with the transfer portal. Fairly, not great. But he's organized and all that stuff. He's never going to say the wrong thing. Well, I guess one time actually recently he said about the basement comment. Most of the time he says the right things. He's a guy that his program isn't where it should be in year 3. That's the bottom line. And it's hard when you talk about a family losing their livelihood, right? And that's more the assistant coaches than the head coach. But at the end of the day, he hasn't done a good enough job. That's where we are. Florida is most likely not going to beat Ole Miss, LSU, Texas, and Georgia. And so therefore, even if Florida beats Kentucky, therefore he's not going to win enough games.
Because I've heard comments or people talking about, I think Mia, you were too, they don't have a president right now.
Correct.
They have an interim president.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who is making decisions beyond Scott Strickland? Because a lot of people are looking at him and his hires. So would you even want
Boosters, by the way, is the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think boosters are to the point where they're fed up with him too?
Scott Strickland?
Yeah.
Oh, tons of boosters. I don't know them personally, so I can't speak necessarily for, no one's told me this. But I think there are lots of boosters that are, yes, fed up. Because just like with the Jags, when you feel like the general manager's not picking the right players, and if the general manager is hiring coaches, that's a whole other story. But then you don't have faith in the top of the organization.
So that's where I'm wondering if they wait until it's all done, because is there a chance that both of them get swept out?
The other issue, though, is Scott Strickland is really good at pretty much all the other sports. There's been a few issues. He's hired some coaches he shouldn't have, and there are some sports that aren't great. But across the board, Florida does really well in lots of the other sports. Everybody loves Todd Golden and what he's doing, right? Yeah. And the baseball program, look at Kevin O'Sullivan, although Scott Strickland didn't hire him.
Yeah,
gymnastics is really good.
His coaches,
track and field's really good. Yeah, Jeremy Foley was a much better AD as far as hiring coaches. I mean, he hired Spurrier and Urban and Billy Donovan.
Yeah,
it's hard to compete with those. But yeah. If you ask me, is Florida going to have a new athletic director? That part I don't know because of the whole president situation. The former president had to leave to take care of his wife, and so now there's an interim president, and who knows when there'll be a new president.
And the interim president, these are boosters and people in Gainesville's words, not mine. The interim president is the one who hired Billy Napier, or at least very much approved it when Scott Strickland made that hire.
Yeah, approved it. Strickland definitely made that hire.
And also is far more interested in theater and the arts than he is the athletic department.
So this was the stat I read. It said the record of coaches hired by Scott Strickland versus those he inherited. Strickland, 200, 193, 11, so a .495 winning percentage. Non-Strickland, 1,461 to 591 to 8, a .709. During Strickland's time, 8 conference titles. Non-Strickland time, 12 national titles, 31 conference titles, 11 conference tournament titles.
Yeah, Jeremy Foley Jeremy Foley hired some unbelievable coaches. And Rhonda Fain, the gymnastics coach that he hired too, was unbelievable before she left to go to the U.S. team. It's broken, certainly, and people believe that if they wipe everyone out, which again relates to the Jaguars, if you wipe everyone out, that it'll get better. I'm okay with Scott Strickland staying and hiring the right coach. That I'm personally fine with that because I think he is a smart guy. I've gotten to speak to him multiple times, and when we go down to Gainesville for the Orange and Blue game, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. The facilities are great. Like, I think everything is pointing in the right direction. It's just, yes, he hired the wrong coach. And the problem was that a lot of people have is that was the only guy on his radar.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't people...
And you could have had Lane, right?
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I have heard that, yes, they could have had Lane. And they could have him again.
They could have had Brian Kelly, too, if they wanted to, Taylor, because he did make calls, and I can verify that. I've been told that by multiple sources.
Right.
Ultimately, they locked in on Billy Napier, for better or worse. Yes, 910. Off the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, Strickland has hired 2 coaches that were then fired for abuse. You're not wrong.
One was
there.
women's basketball and one was soccer.
Yes, so you are not wrong there. That is also a blemish on his resume, and that's why my expectation is that if Scott Strickland, who again I've also gotten to speak with and have enjoyed, and again,
he's great.
To the point of facilities, he is a good man. He is trying to bring this university that unfortunately, and you can go back to Dan Mullen's argument when it came to the football operation and not having a football-only practice facility.
And that's on Jeremy Foley.
Yes, that is where Scott has certainly helped elevate the university. But ultimately, yes, those are blemishes on his resume that you can't get past.
And I also people believe Florida's behind on NIL too.
Correct.
That's part of the problem.
And I also, I also would not be surprised if and when he is still here to make the next football hire, he is not making that hire. It is the boosters and some sort of group decision that is making that hire. And that's where, to your point, Taylor, that's where the president situation is so fascinating.
But what cracks me up is everybody before the season, if Billy Napier gets fired, everyone wants Lane Kiffin. They've already lost twice, Ole Miss has. They have a ton of money invested into that team. They could certainly lose some more games. And so do you still want that guy, or have your sights set on someone else at this point in time? That's what fans crack me up in that regard. That's why I don't like to talk about in season who should be the next coach until you get to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Yeah, and I feel like that was kind of a couple weeks ago when we were having that conversation of like, would Lane come here? Would Florida want Lane? All of those things. And that was part of what I was saying, too, is like, if this keeps going bad at Ole Miss, is that even still your first choice as coach?
Define bad.
And,
that's the thing.
And that's the thing. You have to look at the end of the season of what you think. Last week, I think they looked terrible. Like that team did not look like the team that most people thought they were going to be heading into this season.
Same with the Kentucky game.
Yes, yeah. I wanted to ask real quick, too, this weekend, Lauren, because when you're talking about this Kentucky-Florida game, do you think that a lot of it does kind of lay on what DJ Lagway can do? Because his last start, obviously, against A&M was not very good, and then him coming against the Vols, he only had, I think he was like 9 for 17 or something like that. Do you think he's the biggest factor into this game?
He most certainly is, because of the fact that this team pretty much all offseason had Graham Mertz taking all the first team reps. And Lagway certainly had gotten some experience, to your point, but this team was built pretty much around Graham Mertz and his accuracy. And while, yes, people think of him as boring in the offseason, and then you actually realize how much he meant to Florida. But at the end of the day, yes, everything rests on DJ Lagway. Here, to me, is one of the keys to the game is Kentucky is a slow, methodical football team, right? Like Mark Stoops.
Run the ball, play great defense.
Run the ball. Ray Davis ran all over Florida. I'm glad he's in the NFL now. And Mark Stoops has really good defense as well, but they like to take time off the clock. Well, DJ Lagway is a super explosive quarterback. When he's making good plays, they're pretty much explosive quarterback, or he's an explosive quarterback. But if you're only having the ball for, let's say, in a 60-minute game, less than 30 minutes, 20-ish minutes, because
like if
Kentucky's
you're getting those
keeping the
big
ball.
Explosiveness, 2-minute play drives, but you're scoring, getting a field goal, but then Kentucky's having the ball for 8-9 minutes, then
Correct.
yeah.
Then eventually it's like, well, who has the ball last? And that certainly could be how this game, how it comes down to. Mark Stoops has had Florida's number.
Yeah.
Not just Billy Napier's, but Dan Mullen's too. At the end of the day, I think DJ Lagway is a smart enough quarterback that he won't make any glaring mistakes. And he's going to have to run the ball some, which, of course, that's how Graham Mertz got injured, was he was running the ball. We all thought it was the non-contact, but then he said later that it wasn't.
But Lagway is more so that guy that can use his legs.
Yeah, and he's a much bigger quarterback in general.
Montrell Johnson, questionable for this game. I think that's a big factor. Kentucky is third in the SEC, giving up less than 100 yards per game. Of note, though, guess who's second best? Tennessee, allowing just 79.2 yards per game on the ground. Kentucky is also third best in the SEC when it comes to passing yards given up per game with 162.2 yards per game. And so ultimately, it's not even like you can identify like, well, they're weak against the run or they're weak against the pass. Look, you were able to exploit Tennessee, who's a top 4, top 5 defense. And so that's what gives me hope for you Gator fans out there, because you did it last week. Can you do it again against a team that is anemic on offense, quite frankly? I never saw Brock Vandagriff's career quite taking the turn that it has.
Like, you wonder, why did Georgia recruit him?
Then again, once upon a time, I was also told that Devin Leary coming in would be a cure-all for Kentucky's offense last year. It was not. If anything, I would argue the presence of a certain offensive coordinator is what made the difference in Will Levis and that 2022 Kentucky outfit looking the way that they did. I am speaking, of course, about Liam Cohen, now with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so it's interesting, though, because I don't think that offense at Kentucky, outside of Ray Davis, outside of being able to run the ball, has really ever been anything more than, the SEC's version of Iowa over the last 5 to 6 years since Josh Hines-Allen and Benny Snell and company graduated.
Yeah, Florida would love to be able to run the ball and, like I said, keep Kentucky on the sidelines, the offense on the sidelines. Even though Vandagriff, I do think he's going to have at least one interception.
Yeah, those of you who are keeping score on that side of the ball, Kentucky is second to last behind or ahead of only Oklahoma, 168.3 passing yards per game in 2024, and they are third to last. Actually, not third to last. They're sixth to last when it comes to rushing yards per game at 153.3. They are ahead of the Gators and Georgia.
If we picked FSU Duke, the favored by 3, who would you have taken?
Oh, between FSU and Duke?
Yeah.
I would have taken Duke.
Yeah, probably.
Although, again, weird things happen.
Across the board.
Weird things happen and have happened on Friday nights in Power 4 football, which is why I went with my midday MyBookie picks yesterday with that Oregon-Purdue line, which has actually grown overnight from a 28-point line to a 29.5-point line. Look, I mean, I understand Purdue has one win on the season. They did just come back from down 27-3 on the road against Illinois, who's a top 25 outfit. Like, they're going to cover, I would think. One of these games is going to end weird. Maybe it's BYU facing Oklahoma State tonight. BYU has been easily the quietest, most underrated conference leading team. I know Iowa State is tied for them for the Big 12 lead right now, but the Cougs are 9.5-point favorites against Oklahoma State, who has disappointed each of the last 3 times out. Maybe that's the weird one. I will guarantee you this. If you pick one of the 3, Florida State, Duke, Florida State, Duke, Oregon, Purdue, or Oklahoma State, BYU tonight, one of those games, the underdog is going to win, just by virtue of what we have seen the last few weeks on Friday nights.
And surprisingly, that game doesn't kick off till 10:15, Oklahoma State, BYU. Okay. So everyone will be wide awake watching. All right, Taylor Dahl has a tangent on the other side. It's a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Defense just stepping up and playing dominant.
A strong fence protects your yard like a stout defense protects the bank.
Number 1 takeaway defense.
Each week, Superior Fence and Rail presents the Defensive Player of the Game on 1010XL.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why, their unbeatable interest rates. Right now, you can take advantage of a 2.99% year 1 rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I will say it again, folks, 2.99% year 1 rate. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hodges Mazda, we are proud of our solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. Lauren Brooks here. As your hometown Mazda dealer, our high customer service standards and our huge inventory of new and used cars provide our customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Our professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And every vehicle purchased from Hodges Mazda comes with 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Pre-Game Friday is brought to you by MyBookie
and Dream Finders Homes on 1010XL.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. And if your dream is to create that space where you're living large in your backyard, then you need to get with the good people at CSS. They put a gas log in our fireplace, an awesome fire pit out back where the kids can toast s'mores and we can just hang out and watch the game. It's all part of your outdoor living experience with CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday.
The highest quality artificial turf at affordable prices.
Visit sunshineturf.info today.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1 mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at mackenziesrun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. mackenziesrun.org.
This is Corona Premier. Just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's a light beer that... Wait, this is a light beer? But we shouldn't really tell people about... Right, that's why I'm here. Sorry. Corona Premier, unexpectedly, light beer.
If your high school student is a high performer, they could be 1010XL Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Franchi Show.
On 1010XL.
Elbow pain, whether acute or chronic, can make it difficult to do normal activities like playing sports, doing household chores, or even sleeping comfortably. Dr. George Barry here, and no one wants to deal with pain without solutions on how to feel better. We've all heard of tennis and golfer's elbow, but there's plenty more that can cause pain, like osteoarthritis, muscle tears, and nerve entrapment. All are treatable at Barry Orthopedics. Getting you back to full health is our mission, and there's a number of different treatment options we can offer. Call us today or visit BarryOrthopedics.com.
When it comes to selling your home, it can be stressful. Take the stress out with my friends, Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. How's this for a guarantee? Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they'll buy it. No required costs and repairs. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. And if you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home. Take Kim in Palm Coast. I needed to move closer to family ASAP, but I had to sell my Palm Coast home first. I tried and failed with another agent. So my family said, you got to call Chad and Sandy. Well, sure enough, as promised, Chad and Sandy did it. They sold my home in 3 days, above asking price. Call the local Jacksonville experts I trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for Skylife Elite. Have you ever thought about aircraft ownership as another potential revenue stream and as a tool for tax savings? Put your tax money to work for you while enjoying the benefits of private personal travel. Skylife Elite has over a decade of experience in business aviation and can guide you through the process with their expert staff. Call my friends over at Skylife Elite at 490-9332 or find them at flyskylife.com to get the rundown on everything owning an airplane can do for you.
For birthdays, anniversaries, or any situation that requires something really special, visit the Kuhn Flowers showroom on Beach Boulevard and select something that you can't find anywhere else. 1010XL's Andrew Gibson here, and that's the direction I head, Kuhn Flowers.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels.
Illuminated by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
It's a Sunshine Turf Friday here on Helmets and Heels. Me, O'Brien, Taylor Dollar, Jay Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks. Every time we do a Taylor's Tangent, it just makes everyone hungry.
Yeah, because we want some Chick-fil-A.
Everybody wants
I could go
Chick-fil-A.
for some Chick-fil-A right now.
Exactly.
The song's been stuck in my head for so long because it's on the Menendez Brothers documentary. It's Milli Vanilli, the Blame It on the Rain song. And I literally can't sleep at night because the song is just in my head. So I had to add it to the playlist.
I like it. I have not watched a second of the Menendez brothers or the Hernandez thing.
I haven't watched Hernandez either.
Okay.
I've
This
seen
is
clips.
Menendez,
This
right.
is Menendez Brothers.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of the Aaron
Hernandez, and it looks terrible.
And the
The only clip that I've seen is the guy who
With
plays
Gronk.
Gronk. Yeah, and they were like, oh my God.
I saw the
There's
Belichick
another-
one too.
And then there's a clip where the athlete who's supposed to be Hernandez catches the ball, but he's clearly out of bounds, but they just pretend like it's a touchdown in the
not, yeah.
documentary. Or the series,
So the
whatever.
guy that plays Gronk is Gronk's friend.
Oh my God.
And so I saw a podcast that Gronk was on, and they were asking him how do you think he did in this one clip? Because it's Aaron and Gronk meeting for the first time in the locker room because they were drafted in the same year, and they're like, "Oh my God, bro, it's Tom Brady!" And it's Gronk just being Gronk, and Aaron Hernandez is just kind of okay,
who is this guy?
whatever. But they asked Gronk about it, and he was like, "It was a little over the top, a little exaggerated, obviously, but fun note, that's my friend, so my friend knows my personality very well."
So he just leaned in a little too much.
Yeah.
The only reason I even saw it was because Part of My Take tweeted it out, and they were just like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. Which plug there. Apparently TC went on Part of My Take earlier this week in light of, we really didn't connect the dots there. And again, just want to give a shout out to TC as, of course, we are getting ready for the J-Fun Radiothon coming in early December. We forget. He's inducted into the Pride the first weekend in October here in Jacksonville, and then the very next week was back up at MetLife when the 2008 Super Bowl
And they got
Giants
him
team.
They had a bobblehead that day.
Right, was honored. So
TC month.
What a month for TC, man. Want to just give him a shout out.
Yeah, Tom Coughlin's fantastic. All right, right now Taylor Dahl does have a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
So this week we've been dissecting certain things when it comes to the offense and when it comes to Trevor Lawrence specifically, because we talked early, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, about how this last game was not Trevor Lawrence's fault. And some people disagreed. Some people still have, which you're allowed. You're allowed to have your opinion on what you think is obviously wrong and right and how you feel about Trevor. Your expectations of Trevor to start probably affect how you feel right now too. If you just had the highest of standards and he's not meeting that, then maybe you are disappointed, and it's rightfully so in certain areas. But we've been kind of trying to dissect. When we talked yesterday, I did my tangent on drops and, how the Jags have led the drops since the time that Trevor's been here in 2021. And we went and got a little side nugget of the year that Doug Peterson was fired in Philly. Carson Wentz's pass catchers led the season in drops. So then I started going into more of, hey, is there something with Doug's offenses that aren't working? And it all kind of triggered off of somebody who texted onto the text line and saying, the way that the certain plays that happen, we have a lot of stagnant run and stop, catch the ball a lot. And so Daniel Griffiths took this even further. The Jags have the highest rate of hitch routes in the league, which is obviously, it looks like they're disguising it as kind of a fly route, but they come up, stop, go, run, stop, come back up, catch the ball. And so there's a lot of stop movements rather than this fluid, as a runner, just kind of get them in stride type of offense that we're seeing here in Jacksonville. When you have a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. who literally excels at that, that type of thing. I don't know why we're not doing more of that, because when you look at Brian Thomas Jr.'s numbers, specifically with some of these routes, he's just incredible, and those are not the ones that we are running to a higher level. That's for a different time, because Daniel Griffiths did post a really good thing on kind of breaking down each of the receivers, the pass catchers in general, the routes that the Jags run, which ones they run well, which ones they run bad, the percentage that they are going to each of those. But another thing popped up yesterday when it comes to the quarterbacks in the league right now. And we heard this briefly in the beginning of the season. It kind of went away, but then now it recently just came back because it was talking about the quarterbacks who have thrown to their first read the most. The top 5 list so far in the NFL this season through 6 weeks of quarterbacks who throw to their first read the most: Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Andy Dalton, Will Levis, Jaden Daniels. And so this, again, brings up what is wrong with this offense, too. And I think early on we could have said it was because of protection. He just didn't have the time, so he was trying to get the ball out as quick as possible. The line has been better, so I don't think we can use that excuse as much the last 2.5 weeks, because I feel like he has had more time to throw and process, and we're seeing that. You can't use the separation because the Jags receivers have one of the higher end of separations and separating from the defenders in the league. So it's just something that's interesting to kind of look at. And obviously, when you look at that list, it's probably not the majority of quarterbacks that you want to be compared to outside of Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is the one on that list that people are talking about being successful this year.
He's also a rookie.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense that he'd
It's an offense that was designed to make it that easy
Yeah.
for him.
And so that's what they actually had a chart. Grant Paulson posted this chart of kind of the same thing, the first read percentage, and then their EPA on those plays. Jaden Daniels is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 highest on this list, which I guess on the other one he had him 5, so maybe it is. It's kind of hard to tell on the chart. So 5th highest, but the highest EPA per rate on those first read throws. Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones sit almost identical, and it's under the league average of where you want your EPA to be. So it's not even like those first reads are working for Trevor, and that's a little bit of a concern too. We can't factor into drops in this because how many of those moments were there dropped passes, and that is affecting Trevor's completion percentage on those plays. But when you look at the opposite end, and this was interesting too, the quarterbacks who are least likely to throw on their first read, the top 5 this year: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams are the top 5 when it comes to kind of obviously extending those and going through your progressions and all of those. So
Kurt Warner was obsessed with Caleb Williams and his eyes on Sunday.
Oh, I know. He did a whole, it was like slowed down, slow motion, zoom in. I was like, goodness gracious.
That's really
why.
Yes, that's why. Because if you're going to your first read, you're never going to look off a safety.
Yeah.
And then that's much easier, obviously, for the defense to be able to attack.
So, and more so, I don't have the answer to this, but my tangent is more so as I'm trying to kind of dissect what is really wrong with this offense, because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a bad quarterback. I think we can maybe start shying away from he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm not sure he's ever going to be that. I think he can be a top 10 quarterback. I think maybe let's like level down our
And that's okay, by the way.
It is. It's
because
okay.
there are plenty of top 10 quarterbacks who have won Super Bowls.
Yes.
So that's okay.
There's beyond less than top 10 quarterbacks, but you want to be in that top 10 range most likely, especially when you use a first round pick on the guy, especially when it's been told that it's supposed to be this person. But I think that Trevor Lawrence is the guy. I think he is your franchise quarterback. And I think
because who else are you going to go get?
Well, he is your franchise quarterback.
And I think that he can be that guy. And I do think he can be a top 10 quarterback. I think that you have weapons. I think that Evan Ingram here in Jacksonville has become one of the top tight ends in the league. I think that Christian Kirk, when you let him do what Christian Kirk is really good at, and we talk about that slot type receiver, he's really good in those areas. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has the potential to be a deep threat receiver in the NFL. He's a rookie, so we've seen some drops, we've seen some moments that maybe you don't want to see, but those things I think will all shake out. And protection's gotten better. The run game is there. You can't use the excuse that they can't run the ball, so Trevor has to force things. So there's something that is not working in this offense, and I'm really just trying to, at this point, dissect and try and find out what it is.
Do you think that Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, Mike McCoy, do you think they've done as deep of a dive as Taylor Dahl has on this Jaguars offense?
There's the $1 million question, Lauren. There's the $1 million question.
There's the $275 million
right,
question.
because ultimately, if he's diverting to his first read time after time, that's a reflection of coaching. And I'm curious, and I know Daniel Griffiths, who I'm going to start dubbing our stats and info section at this point of our program. I know he's gone back and he's looking through right now what 2022's numbers looked like.
Yeah,
did he go
that first read number?
Right, yeah. Exactly. And I know he said he's doing that right now because I'm curious if he was not among the league leaders in 2022, then that speaks to regression. Yeah. And who does that fall on?
That falls on whoever's calling the plays, Mia.
And whoever is teaching and
Trying to be
coaching and
developing
molding him. Correct.
Yeah, I do think that Trevor Lawrence, the generational label was wrong to begin with. We've already seen that at least through the first few years. However, we also should have known that he wasn't going to be generational because the offense at Clemson was nothing like a pro-style offense. And I don't think he's to where he needs to be as far as reading defenses as quickly as he needs to. But with proper coaching, all of that can improve year to year. And that I don't think we've seen.
And I think that's where the bigger red flag is you feel like he should be far ahead of where he is. And I mentioned this, you want to see the Trevor that you saw at the end of 2022, but even better, because at the end of 2022, we felt like this is it. Like Trevor Lawrence is breaking out. This is the beginning of this trajectory of, okay, he's just going to keep climbing. And we've seen this fallback, and it is alarming that it's happened. And when almost every number that you can relate to of Trevor Lawrence in the last 15 games has regressed. And to me, that is coaching, because I think that you can talk about play calling, but I think the direct development of Trevor Lawrence, and just to reference the numbers really quick, Daniel Jones, first read, 88%. Trevor Lawrence, first read, 87.9%. Andy Dalton is 80.1. Will Levis is 79.8. And Jaden Daniels is 77.2. So that's
Andy
a
Dalton's
high
like, please leave me out of this.
Right. This is not my fault.
Have you looked around at the Panthers
what do you want me to
offense?
do?
Like, we had Christian McCaffrey at one point in time, and we had DJ Moore at one point in time. Like, what am I supposed to do?
And I think Daniel Jones is just like, where's Malik? Go.
Right, right. Which to that point, 238 off the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. First read stats are impossible to quantify. The play type and scheme determines whether a quarterback has to go through his reads at all or not, which he's not. This individual, Healigan, is not wrong.
Yeah.
Because you do see a lot of the quick game. And I don't know if that's a byproduct of the Jags feeling like, well, we need to get our offense going. We need to be more of a hurry-up 2-minute offense. Or we're just going to try and hit slant routes and stay ahead of the chains and not look for the deep shot like we were in the early goings of this season, because we were criticized for that and we saw holes in our game plan because of that. Yeah. And to your point, Taylor, you also could go to the Giants where, well, Malik Neighbors is the read. He is the option. This play is designed for him.
And I don't think you would consider, like, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes sit at the top of the list of the opposite spectrums. The difference is the list on the slowest outside of Caleb Williams, because we're still learning about him. But Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert are quarterbacks that you want to be more like. And you wouldn't say any of them are, maybe Lamar because he does run a lot, but the others always have a quick time to throw. So it's not like they are some of the quarterbacks holding on and taking their time going through these progressions. They're just doing it at a quick rate and able to read these defenses a little faster.
All right, we've got lunch for two right now.
We do. Lunch on the ladies, lunch for two to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 5.
All right, we've got one segment to go on a Sunshine Turf Friday on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda dealers.
At Honda, we appreciate all the comparisons to other vehicles. And no matter how many times they compare their vehicles to a Honda, only a Honda is a Honda. Remember, value, quality, safety, there is no substitute. Visit your local Honda dealer now and experience the difference.
Mia here. You know what I've learned? If your team is losing, you can make yourself a winner with MyBookie. Bet against your team if you have to, if it's going to score you a payout. This weekend, there's a ton of great games once again. Saturday night, you have Kentucky, a favorite, coming into the Swamp to face the Gators. And Sunday morning, oh boy, your favorite team now a 6-point favorite against the New England Patriots and rookie quarterback Drake May. I think the home team can cover. How about you? It doesn't stop there. Sunday, you have Lions, Vikings, Texans, Packers, and Chiefs, 49ers. And then the most bet-on game of the day every week is Sunday Night Football. The Jets back in prime time, taking on the Steelers in the Steel City with a 38.5-point total. Give me the under with the Steelers trying to slow the game down. MyBookie still has the double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your first deposit up to $1,000. Use promo code 1010XL and make yourself a winner with MyBookie.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
Sunshine Turf Friday on Helmets and Heels.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
When you're behind the wheel of your car, you expect a safe journey. But what if the other driver's careless and you're injured? The responsibilities and demands on your spouse just doubled. You suddenly can't work. So what happens to your family's income? And by now, the emergency room and medical bills may be sitting on your kitchen counter. You've got some problems, and we want to hear about them. Call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Office, Jacksonville.
Mia here. Folks, I know it's nice and cool outside right now, but temperatures expected to go back up to the 80s next week, which means your AC better be blowing nice and cold on the inside. If it's not, my friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are here to help. Their qualified service techs can handle any type of cooling issue at your home or business. So don't deal with the summer heat outside and inside. Give Duck Duck AC a call today to schedule service. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck AC is a licensed mechanical contractor.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on three, 1, 2, 3.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010xl.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Prosser here. I've been telling you for years about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Football season finally upon us. Imagine watching your favorite team in your new Lifetime man cave, family hangout, or Lifetime's version of a she shed. And now Lifetime is expanding their replacement window division. Make your home energy efficient with their Energy Star rated windows, enclosures, flooring, and windows to fit any and all budgets. Visit the showroom just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let Lifetime be your home team.
The Jaguars are back at Everbank Stadium to go head-to-head with the Green Bay Packers for our crucial catch game. Join us October 27th as we fight cancer through early detection, risk reduction, and awareness all game long. Lock in your tickets now by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there.
Think you can't afford to buy a home? Think again. Lennar offers a range of new homes at affordable prices with a simple and hassle-free buying experience. Every home comes with our Everything's Included package, which means you get premium features and upgrades at no extra cost. For a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 3.99% and no closing costs on select homes when you finance through Lennar Mortgage. Call us at 904-917-2372 to find your dream home today. Lennar, the home for you.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson on Sunday's matchup against the New England Patriots in London.
You know, I know they got a young quarterback, and then they're working through some things there, but you just can't let this kid get started. And they're going to rely on the run game. You know, I think screens, some play action stuff, and Still a dangerous football team, very typical, New England kind of esque, very disciplined group. Coach Mayo has them playing hard, and that's what you see on film.
The Jaguars will face the 3rd overall pick from this year's draft in Patriots quarterback Drake May. Jags Patriots kickoff Sunday morning at 9:30. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Got a couple stories earmarked on the old World Wide Web, and so let's run through them and span the wide world of sports as we cool down here on Helmets and Heels. First, this one's going to make you all feel old. Lauren, Taylor, Heeligans.
RJ can't feel old.
RJ may feel old too.
No.
Deuce Jones-Drew, the son of Maurice Jones-Drew, is now receiving college offers, including one from the Calgorithm, Cal Berkeley.
Good for him, though.
Yeah.
I love it.
Happy for
Let's
him.
just carry on the Jones-Drew.
Does this make you feel old
I feel
that
like-
Deuce Jones-Drew is old enough
Yes.
to be receiving college offers?
Yes. It makes me feel old that I'm watching NFL games now and I'm 12 years older than some of the players on the field. Like, that recently has been a little bit of a shock for me because I felt like I was still the same age as them. And I am not.
The moment, when it comes to the NFL especially, the moment you hit 30, you're now pretty much older than almost everyone on the roster.
Except Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, there are a few, like an Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
Mercedes, last year Jason Kelsey. To that point, Anakin Brown will wear his father D. Brown's number. I'm assuming, 4JU. Yeah,
Okay.
4JU.
There you
So
go.
there's
D.
all
Brown's
that.
son.
Yeah, D. Brown's son.
Yeah.
Going to play college basketball.
That's
For me, it was, this doesn't make me feel old. It was when Fred Taylor's son played and already left Florida, Kelvin
Yeah.
Taylor. And that's been years since he played there and left. So that's the one that got
That
me.
checks out.
It is funny because I think that I feel more old when I see people that I like admired when I was younger. Let's say, when I was like 9, 10, 11, 12, like actresses or actors that I loved. And now I see them and they're like old. That for some reason
Like
like
Ashley
hurts
Judd.
my heart. Yeah, because for example, I was watching Scream 5 last night. And Sydney, who has been in the majority of them, but the first one came out in 1995. And she was like mid-20s in that one. And so in Scream 5, she's not like old, but you can definitely like just see the agedness. And
we call that wisdom.
Can I make everybody
and it
feel?
makes me feel so sad. I'm like, no.
Can I make everybody feel a little younger?
Yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
I don't know if this. I'll contrast the two together. I did want to touch on Tony Bennett, the head men's basketball coach of Virginia, one of then 7, now officially as of 11 a.m. this morning. Now there are only 6 men's Division I active basketball coaches who have won a national title before. Of course, Tony Bennett led Virginia to the NCAA tournament crown in 2019, 1 year after being defeated by a 16 seed, the first 1 seed to ever lose to a 16 seed. Tony Bennett is just 55 years old. He was entering what would have been his 16th season at the helm of the Hoos. He said this morning in part, quote, "I'm a square peg in a round hole. It's time. There needs to be change. I've been here for 15 years. This position has been on loan to me. It wasn't mine to keep, and it's time for me to give it back."
I'm fine with the retiring 3 weeks before the season starts.
Yes.
That's where I don't understand, if you really truly cared about your team, have one more year in you and then retire at the end of the season.
So his line was, "I realized I'm no longer the best coach to lead the program in the current environment. If you're going to do it, you have to be all in. You have to give everything. If you do it half-hearted, it's not fair to the university and these young men."
Decide that in April.
Not at ACC Media Days last week. Did you just look around and you were like, yeah, I'm out?
Right. Like, I don't know. At some point in time, I feel like it's important, yes, to make the right decision. It's just, this doesn't feel like the right decision for timing purposes, all those guys all off season have been committed to you. Before we say hello to XL Primetime here shortly, Taylor, you brought a clip.
I do. I know we were kind of doing our Feel Good Friday for a while. It is still Feel Good Friday, even though we've been a little sad around these parts.
We decided during football season it needed to take a step back.
Yeah.
We have so much to discuss.
But if you ever are feeling good about anything, send us your puppy pictures. We're always good for that. Tell us what you're feeling good about. But I wanted to give a shout out to a friend, my friend Cassidy Barden, or some people may know her as Cassidy Lee. She has a band around town called Annie Dukes. They're fantastic, but she was on The Voice recently and got a charity
I saw
turn.
this. I just didn't know she was your friend at the time.
Yeah, she's been on The Voice before. No chairs turned the first time. Now she was back, and Michael Bublé turned his chair. So I wanted to just play a little clip of Cassidy because she's fantastic. So congrats to Cassidy. She's fantastic. I'm sure the schedule changes a little bit now, but she does play a lot of places around town. So just look for Cassidy Lee or Annie Dukes. They are amazing. It's also an all-girl band when she plays with her full band, and they are wonderful.
Since you were watching that, I don't know if you saw, but Katie O was the name of another girl that was on The Voice, and she got a 4-chair turn.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of my friends' relatives.
Oh, cool.
That's the easiest way to say it. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so I was super ecstatic. Like I said, I was watching and I didn't know Cassidy was your friend. And I should have figured out because of Annie Dukes, that connection. But yeah, it's going to be a fun season of The Voice when you have, ties in and things like that. I wonder how much this next person who's going to join us watches The Voice. Let's say
now, the 2-minute drill brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
1 in 5. That's what 1 in 5 gets you. Matt is
not
talking
in a
about The
million
Voice.
Do you ever do a little karaoke?
All the time.
Yes?
But I would never watch. Like.
You don't watch The Voice?
No.
Snoop
I
and
do
Gwen,
watch American Idol.
Reba right, exactly. You watch American Idol. So there you go.
Isn't The Voice the one with the mask on?
No,
that's the Masked Singer.
This is where they have their chairs.
All
Their
right.
chairs are turned and they can't see the person, so they're picking
So
based
it's kind of the
solely
same
off.
thing.
No, it's different. The Masked Singer is ridiculous.
Yeah, they wear like funky
And silly.
costumes, and Donna and Beef loved that show.
That one is silly. The Voice is good, but let's not talk about that. Let's talk about your time in Knoxville.
I was just in Boise actually.
Oh, that's right. First
Yeah.
Knoxville earlier this week, and
Yeah.
then Boise.
Yeah,
How was
Are we
Boise?
allowed to say why?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I was out there writing a profile on Ashton Genty, the Boise State running back. It was a great time. Great kid. Got a great story. Look forward next week in USA Today. That's all I can say about that. How about that?
love that.
Can you explain for those who are still trying to tie it together? I know we've mentioned it on the program before. Ashton actually does have roots here in Jacksonville.
So he was born here and he spent 7 years here.
Okay.
He's an Army kid. His dad's has been in the Army all his life. Dad and mom, and he was here for 7 years. Then they went to Virginia. Then they went overseas, and they came back to Texas. And he's got an interesting story.
Texas is a good place to be if you're going to play high school football. I'd
But
say.
does he claim Duval is what I'm wondering.
He did say Duval. I was
Oh,
talking to him about
Okay.
Jacksonville.
You'll
like
have to
that.
wait for the
Because
story.
I asked him, I was driving around like a week and a half ago, and for some reason I was on the west side of town. I can't remember. It was something over there. I was doing. Oh, it was the tournament. It was the golf tournament.
Oh, for Constellation Pyrrhic and
Constellation
Friends.
Pyrrhic and Friends, right? And I saw a political sign that said, I think it says Miriam Genty, and I said,
okay.
I said, Ashton, do you have any relatives still here? And he said, I don't think so. And I said, well, there's somebody by the name of Genty who's up for city council.
Yeah.
And that's a unique name. And he said, yeah, it is. I'll have to ask. So he
Interesting.
didn't know, yeah.
All right.
That person.
He did drop a Duval, though.
He did drop a
he
Duval,
did.
and you love that.
It wasn't loud, but it was kind of. He definitely knew what it was.
In conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we like that.
The field up there, you said it's 38 years old.
Blue.
The
Not-
blue field.
Well, the idea of the blue
Right,
turf.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, so they've replaced it a
Sure,
few
of
times.
course.
But yeah, it's 38 years since they first did that.
That's
Ooh,
crazy. That's
I
wild.
know obviously you cover the world of college football first and foremost, Matt, but I am curious your thoughts since we were just cooling down with it. Tony Bennett announcing his retirement less than 3 weeks away
Right.
from the start of the college basketball season. And I wanted to make sure we noted to our Heeligans, it does open a 30-day transfer portal window for Virginia basketball players. The season tips off in 20 days.
Right?
Yeah.
Is this something you expect to see? I mean, look, Nick Saban's was a little bit different. It was in January, but it was in the midst of a time in which the transfer portal had already closed. And then you factor in the domino effect of Kalen DeBoer leaving Washington, where that left players like Will Rogers kind of in a limbo of sorts.
I think it's interesting that Tony decided right now, this is it, I'm done. So, I mean, had this been going on for 6-7 months, had he been feeling it all along, and finally just he couldn't take anymore, was done, that was it. I could easily see that because you see Jay Wright, you see Tony Bennett, you see Nick Saban, these guys that are the elites of the game are just walking away. And it's difficult. Every coach I talk to is it's a very difficult spot they're put in right now with NIL, and they're hoping that let's put it this way. I spoke to, and I don't want to give him away because it was like an hour and a half. An hour and a half.
Just venting.
He called me, this was about a week and a half ago, and he called me. I spoke to him for an hour and a half, and they don't know what to do right now. They don't know what to do. And I feel bad for him because it's as much or more about player movement as it is the money, the NIL money. The NIL money gives players the idea that they're bulletproof and they don't have to work as hard, which is another thing they're mad about, but it's the player movement where they can just go anytime they want, whenever they want. So I think once they get their minds around, their arms around this whole pay for play, which is happening when they share the revenue, I think you can build in some guide rails. That's the word they love to use, guide rails.
Yeah.
You can build in some guide rails.
Not guardrails, guide rails.
Right, guide rails. To kind of keep them in a situation where you have them a little longer. Like it's not going to be you're out after you can go somewhere else and get another contract. Like you're in a contract. Now the devil in that detail is then they're employees and they do not want them to be employees. So they're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, I had the conversation a little bit because my brother was coaching baseball at Western Kentucky for a while, and I asked him how he felt about NIL, and he was like, it doesn't bother me as much as the way the portal has gone, as much as the portal has,
Right.
because he kind of said similar. Like these smaller schools go and all these coaches work their butts off to recruit all these guys, and then they can play one season, have a good season, and then the big school like Kentucky or whoever comes and swipes them up.
Yeah, and it's legal what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's tampering.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's tampering, and it's
no surprise there.
There's part of that in the Ashton Genty story, by the way. So read it next week.
Ooh,
Juicy.
let's go.
All right, thanks, Matt. We appreciate it, and we will be listening. That's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, hopefully a victory Monday. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next.
Yeah. You keep